Welcome, everybody, to episode 1 on my YouTube channel, Transitioning from Employee to Entrepreneur. Every week, I'm going to be interviewing an amazing person that helps you as you transition from this journey of being an employee to an entrepreneur. Please go and check out my channel, check out all the other videos. But today, I am so excited in this first episode, and I really picked this person for a reason. Uh, I'm so excited to interview Martine Girotto. She currently is the general manager in Canada for a health and wellness global company. I met her through Legal Shield when she was president for Canada. And that's where we met. And for those of you who have seen some of my other stuff, you know that's where I started my entrepreneurial journey is with Legal Shield, an amazing company that I'm obviously still part of. And I'm interviewing her because she's got this unique position of being an employee in the corporate side, supporting employees, entrepreneurs rather, sorry, supporting entrepreneurs. And I thought, what a great way for those of you that are looking of how do I transition? What are the differences? How do I make this work? To hear from someone whose entire job and focus is supporting those entrepreneurs. And she's been doing this for 20 plus years. So Martine, thank you so much for being on my channel and our first interviewee. Could you please share a little bit about yourself and your background and a little bit of what you've done?
Thank you. Well, first of all, it's an honor being your first guest. It's wonderful because you put some thought into it and you thought that I would be the perfect guest for you. And I hope that I will be. My experience has been exactly that, being in a support role behind entrepreneurs that are just, wanting to better their lifestyle, better their finances, better their situation, and meet people. We know what this industry is about and what it can do to entrepreneurs. But what I love the most is being behind the scenes where we get to create tools, we get to create what will alleviate the work of an entrepreneur, and really be in that supporting place of creation. And that is very much what I find the most gratifying, is to see the tools being created, being executed, utilized, and then benefited from. And then we see success. For me, the most gratifying thing is to see success as a result to something that was created by myself or my team. And that has been that the last 20 years of my career, was to be able to support the success of those that are just venturing in this world of entrepreneurship. And it takes guts, and it takes a lot of different skills, and I'm behind them. This is where I find that my purpose takes place, is to really be that factor, that pushing factor to help others succeed, and this is where I get to succeed as well.
Yeah, so your background has been in the space for 20 years. You've been primarily in the network marketing world, which most people would probably say that if you're entering into entrepreneurial space, it is one of a really great, stomping grounds. It's a catch point to say, if I want to go down that path, it's often a really good route to start it. So, talk to me a little bit about some of that background and maybe a little bit of the differences in some of the companies that you've been part of. And the reason I asked this question, because I'm going to lead to the second question, part B of this question, is there are different skills that need to be had in order to be an entrepreneur. So, what are some of the hardest skills that people have to learn? And have you seen that change through this 20 years of being in different kinds of companies supporting entrepreneurs?
That's a very good question. One of the skills that has to come to play, that is somewhat of a non-negotiable, but also the hardest one, if you're just starting your business and you're venturing in this world, is really the coaching, like coachable openness.
Ability
I
to
don't
be
know if that
coachable.
makes any sense. Yeah, being coachable, because a lot of times people will come from a structured environment, being an employee, being within a structure, living in the security protection, the routine. I know what I'm gonna get. No matter what I do, I will always have the same outcome, and I will get to how it can get better, it could be different. But you come into this new venture thinking you know you know all the and the one thing that new entrepreneurs don't are I would say demonstrate for sure is they think they know and they don't know. And once you realize that, once you open yourself to, okay, I'm going to absorb and I'm going to observe and absorb what I need to absorb so that I can be better and sharpening all the skills that I need to really, venture into this world of entrepreneurship. And so being coachable is definitely the first one at the top of the list, but there are other skills definitely, but that's the one that needs to be, mastered right as you start a new opportunity.
And do you feel like that idea of coachability has changed in the last 20 years in your experience, or is it still that same first skill that people need to have?
Well, I would say yes, it's still the same first skill, but that's the number one. But I think that what needs to be kind of handled at the same time or mastered or perfectioned at the same time are really you need to sharpen your strategy skills, you need to sharpen your resilience skill, because the one thing about being an entrepreneur is that you have freedom, you have the ability to create your own dream world, but you also have to master obstacles and situations and curveballs and all these things that come to you when you're the big boss of your own company, as opposed to being an employee where it still happens, but you're not necessarily facing that. You are just kind of in that structure, which is fine because it gives you the security. But when you're an entrepreneur, it's so gratifying. It's amazing. You develop as a person, you develop as a business person, but also you have to really learn how to maneuver around obstacles and challenges and situations. And so your problem solving skill has to be sharp, sharp, sharp. Your resilience, it's okay. What else can we do with this? It has to be where you're really developing, you know, as a human being, you are personally developing, but your business side is taking another level. And those are the skills that are absolutely needed when you start a new business, no matter what kind of business it is. I have personally, my background is specifically with direct sales. I started with Mary Kay Cosmetics 20 some years ago. So yeah, that was, and the difference between direct sales and marketing, multi-level marketing is party planning. I have a product I'm going to take to your house and I'm going to show you what it is, and then you can purchase it from me. This is considered direct sales. And so I have experience in that world, but then I ended up moving to another company in a management role in which I completely learned the whole multi-level marketing world, which is a different type of business in the same industry. And so this is what I have known the most. But everything that I have just presented in terms of skills and what to be ready for is really applicable to any new business you want to start, any new venture you want to try. This is what you need to build the most. And the most important thing to build is yourself, for
Mm.
sure.
That leads right into the next question. Thank you for that, which is attitudes. So what do you see as I mean, I know you've seen many, many entrepreneurs have great success over your 20 years. They've moved to, five figures, six figures, seven figures, some even like, making five, six, seven figures in a month, forget in a year. What would you say is the attitudes that those people that have made them so successful compared to those others that are just not quite getting it?
I have examples. It's a great question because in my mind, as you speak, I have different leaders in different companies. And that's what I like is to be able to refer to different individuals and their success and how they were handling it. And the one common link is rising above everything.
Mhm.
Don't sweat the small stuff, really being that professional that doesn't talk about anyone, that doesn't talk about anything in a negative way, because there is always a solution. I found that if I think of these individuals, they all have in common the solution finding. Okay, this is happening. How can we fix this? How can we make it better? It's not about the people, it's not about the stories, it's about being above everything. And I can tell you that I have seen it with my own eyes. I have worked with these leaders, and that has been what sets them apart from everyone else. So, to be able to experience success is one thing, because I think that it's doable, but to maintain it, to take others with you, and to keep a consistency in your leadership, you have to be that type of person that is somewhat of a Teflon style. Everything glides, nothing, no small stuff sweating, and certainly keeping it positive and keeping it in the solution finding all the time. Not the people, not the story, but the solutions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that of all the leaders that I have been privileged to be mentored by or have coached me during the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur, which there are so many more than when I was an employee for sure.
Mhm.
That's probably one of the unique traits for sure is being able to walk others off a ledge, but also walk yourself off the ledge and just
Yeah,
decide you're not going to quit when things get tough.
yeah,
It
that's
really
true.
is a big skill. And so, maybe that leads a little bit more, and you've sort of addressed this, but I'm wondering if you could be a bit more specific, is what really are the differences between an employee and an entrepreneur? And I find that you are just really in that unique position because you are a corporate employee. It is part of the
Yeah.
reason why we connected because of my background in that space. But venturing into the entrepreneurial world, which you support, has been unique. But I found there's been a huge difference. And so, what are some of those things that if I was transitioning and you'd met me, a decade ago, and I was trying to make this transition from employee to entrepreneur, what were some of the things you would tell me that I'd have to really notice that are different from the world I lived in to the world I'm going into?
This is I love it because it's a funny it's a funny spot where I sit in, because I am an employee, but I work like an entrepreneur, in the sense that my hours are different. I kind of know, I feel that life, it is mine as well, and that's why I can relate the most. But what I would say the main difference are between being an employee and being an entrepreneur are very simple. It's three different aspects. The first one is basically security versus risk. And again, it goes back to how strong are you being able to handle that. If you're an employee, you typically have more of a financial security, you know but less control. You're an employee, so you have to work within this time and that time. You have to ask for vacation. Everything is kind of at the mercy of someone else. You're basically working to make someone's dream come true. I've read that somewhere. I think we all read it somewhere. So someone somewhere is living the best dream. And you're helping, right? And so you have less control. Where if you're an entrepreneur, then you get to decide where your time goes, where you give it all you have, but when also you let it go and you can enjoy family time, and you have a better balance and better control on your time, because time is money and time is precious. Okay, so the other one is between, structure between freedom. So you have to have to know if that's for you, right? If you're an employee, you work within a structure, a structured environment, I would say, where if you're an entrepreneur, then you have the freedom to create, you can adapt your own systems. If you want to work certain way and you want to kind of shape how you will move forward with your strategies and your creative mind, you can do it. It's your business, right? If you work in a structured environment, you kind of have to go by those rules, by those policies, and by those values. And so again, that's the difference. And the last one is the stability versus the variability. That's a hard one when you're French speaking. But employees have a stable income. So no matter what you do, the outcome, what will come into your bank account. But if you're an entrepreneur, your income and your outcome are both related really closely to the effort you put in.
Right.
So Mary Kay, I have been with Mary Kay a long time, and she always said your effort will always show in your paycheck.
Mm.
So, or your paycheck will be the result and the representation of your efforts. And it's so true. The more you give, the more you get. But again, you have the control, you have the freedom. This is you. Where if you're an employee, no matter what you do, even if you give 300%, you will get whatever you signed up for. So it's less control that way. So I would say those are the three main differences between an employee and an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, that's amazing and that's great. So if someone was to um watching this right now and subscribing to my channel and wanting to think that that's their journey, what would be a tip or a piece of advice you would give them to help them tackle those contrasts? Because I know for me, those were exactly the things that I struggled with. And I didn't even know that's what I was struggling with when
Right.
it, I was like, oh, I had no idea that I had to now manage my own time. And, no one
Yeah.
was telling
Oh,
me
it's an adaptation. It really is an adaptation because we are creatures of habits. Okay, first of all. So if you have a certain routine, if sometimes we work in a structured environment and we hate it because it's structured, but we're used to it. And I say we, not necessarily me, because like I explained, I'm all over the place in terms of my time. And so it's not like applicable as much as an employee, but you kind of get used to your routine, you kind of get used to that structure. And then when you're on your own, it's like, wow, but where do I start? How do I control my time? And how do I, because your time is also has to be used for freedom, but also for productivity. You have to find that balance between, I want to be, I want to control my life, whatever that is, but to control your life, you have to feed into your entrepreneurship. And so how are you going to divide your time? How are you going to build your own I have a word in French, but your own skin, your tough skin? How are you going to build this so that you are a sharp entrepreneur that is conscious of time, is conscious of effort, is conscious of contributions, and leadership? Because that's another thing, depending what there's so many ventures that anyone can take, but depending what it is, if you are to bring people with you, if you are to build a team, whether it's you start your own business and you have employees yourself, or you start your own business and you have team members, whatever it is, you still need to sharpen that leadership skill. That is absolutely. So it's a lot to to adapt to. If you're new and you come, especially if you've been in the corporate world long enough to to have been, used to it, but still wanting to leave it, you need to kind of to really establish your goals, your priorities, and really get to a structure of your own. So you're no longer in someone else's structure, but you are building your own structure, your foundation, how things will work. Because for years to come, if you build a good structure for your business, you will find a time to be productive. You will find a time to be, present with for your life in general. But when you're productive, and you're so that structure will be key to your future for years and years. How you started is how you will lead it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that leads again into a really great question that I have for you around, you said earlier that it's you, it's you are the deciding factor in this, a little bit different than being an employee where someone else is directing you, and here
Right.
you have to outward direct. So speaking of which, and I know we've talked about this so many times over the years, but growth and personal development, and I know that you are a student of that space, and a lot of it came from Mary Kay as well, when she was guiding you and mentoring you and teaching you early in your career. But what would you say are your three favorite, I'll say, pieces of personal development? I won't even necessarily say books. I'll leave it open for you to share who or what you think are some of the top education material for personal leadership and growth that somebody should read or look at or watch or learn from.
Um, I mean, over the years, this is somewhat of an area that has grown itself. When I started years and years ago, we didn't have as many mentors, personal development mentors. We didn't have as many books to read. And back in those days, we didn't have podcasts and tutorials and anything like that. So now the pool for education and personal development and business development is huge. And so the one thing, I mean, there are several types of books that people can read and learn from and shape who they are with. The ones there are two books that are not necessarily conventional, but that I have here. And I have a collection. You can imagine, so many years in this business, we learn, we hear about books, we buy it, we read it, we put it aside, and then there's that one book that stays with you. I have two of those that are with me, and I would rather buy one new to give someone because I don't want to lend mine. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm going to lend you my book. I don't lend those books. Those books are mine. One of them is The Power of Now. So if you want to take note of this book, The Power of Now is just, how to basically empower, step into your power today. What is your situation today? How can you learn from that today and shape your future from the now? And the other one is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Honestly, this book has been with me. I may have read it at least 3, 4 times now. And it's more of a life lesson where, when you drive and you're in a good cadence and then the lights are green and you keep moving because you get the green lights and and then sometimes you get that red light and you have to wait. For so life is a series of lights, and you can't get them all green. But when you get a green light, you have to learn to see it, to appreciate it, to be grateful for it, and to work on your cadence, your speed. Everything has a factor to make you go through the green lights. And so I find that it's such a great life lesson. I bring it on trips with like in my book, my bag all the time. I think it's a easy read and it's great. So those are the two books that I will tell you have shaped me for someone who has read so many of those books. They're all great. It depends where you are in your life and in your and in your journey. Are you just starting as as an entrepreneur? Have you been in this, in the entrepreneurship world for a few years, many years? And decades, depending where you are, there is a book for you. And now we have so many choices. So I would say that those are the ones that I really strongly recommend.
That's awesome. I just finished reading The Power of Now just
Oh,
recently,
yeah.
the last, yes, I think 6 months. So yeah, very, very much bringing awareness of every moment and living right now and not, we can't change the past, and worrying about the future that hasn't even happened, but in this moment is great. And I love this green light one. I'm so gonna get it. That's amazing.
Oh, get
Uh,
it.
yeah, what a great concept. And you know, it's interesting. You're right. There's so many books. There's a whole stack behind me, but I read so much as well. But the part that I also find completely fascinating is that I will have read a book and then I will pick it up and I will read it again. And I'm like, they changed all the words.
It's because you're not receiving it the same way. So it's as if those books are here to teach us several lessons. It's not just one lesson you need to learn reading one book. It's you can go back to the book and learn different lessons within the same book.
Absolutely. It just shocks me sometimes when I look at a book and I think that I don't even remember this chapter. I don't remember this section at all, but I'm
Right?
a different person. I've grown
Right?
so much. My business has grown, or my connections or my laws of associations have changed, that I receive things really differently. So absolutely, sometimes even repeating books again and again at different phases of your life can have complete different impacts.
That's
Absolutely.
right. That's right.
So I'm going to ask you a bit of a controversial question, which is going to be interesting considering my channel that I'm asking people to subscribe to is all about helping people who want to transition to be an entrepreneur from an employee. But let me ask you, do you believe that everybody should be an entrepreneur? Everybody should start a business? Because if you were on Instagram and TikTok and all these social medias now, it's like everyone needs a side hustle. Everybody should be making money from home. Everybody should be an entrepreneur. And I mean, firstly, I think we might have a problem if the world became all entrepreneurs, quite honestly. I mean,
We need a balance. We need a
right. I mean,
balance.
I do want my doctor and my dentist to be, I want the people who collect my garbage to continue to do that. Like there are roles that I would like people to continue to have, but in earnest, do you think that everybody should be an entrepreneur and start a business?
Okay, definitely entrepreneurship can be super rewarding. We've been talking about it. This is where you get to have more control. You get to have more, you have the ability to transform yourself, the lives of others around you as well. So that's there. It exists. It's the truth. But it's not necessarily for everyone. And I'll give you some example because it requires a specific set of skills. We've talked about it, character traits, personal traits. How good are you at risk tolerance, resilience, adaptability? We've talked about that because then you're no longer under a protection, like a structure protection. You are the structure. But again, you can benefit way more greatly being an entrepreneur than an employee. However, you need to be shaped for it. You need to be cut for it. Skills and experience also, some people may lack the necessary skills or the experience to run a business effectively. The other thing is, first of all, you need to have a passion. Whatever you venture towards, you have to be passionate about it, or your interest has to be super strong in the chosen field, whatever it is, because if you don't have the passion and the strong interest, you're never going to be able to be convincing enough for others to follow you or to support you, encourage you. And speaking about support, not everyone has a strong support system around them. You have to have mentors. You have to be able to have advisors or people around you that support you and guide you. And so that's also something that is needed. And you have to be able to get in there with a sense of financial stability, handleability. I don't even know if that's a word, but financial stability can impact someone's ability to take the risks, you
Right.
know, that are associated with entrepreneurship. But in several industries, if you start your own business, like direct sales or MLM, this is what I know, so I refer to it. But sometimes the costs are not as great. The risk is not as grand, and so you can certainly tap into it and not worry too much. But outside of that financial risk, you have to have the skills, you have to have everything that I just talked about to make sure that you are cut for it. Not everyone is in that position, but to your point, not everyone should be, because we need people in their say their respective areas of work, so that we can continue to cohabit with each other.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's one of the reasons why I created this course, my masterclass course, this program of helping people with the skills that I felt like I
Right.
needed in order to transition. And I do, even in my course, I do give you almost an out to say, if these are the things that you either can't master, don't want to master, you don't really have that right inclination or aptitude, it's okay. There's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing to say that everybody's got to go down this path. And so, thank you for validating the people who might be watching this going, I really do want to try. I'm doing this, but it's not clicking or it's not working. And it's okay. It's okay. It's not necessarily for everybody.
And sometimes you may not have it at first glance. You may not feel it, or you may not think that you have what it takes. But for some, it's a matter of learning or developing or building the skills, and for some it's just not for them. It's like there's like almost three worlds here. Those that have it and they want it, someone like you, and then those that are, maybe they just need to explore if they can sharpen those skills, and those that are like, no, hell no, not interested. But those are the ones that encourage and support those that have businesses. We also need the customers, and we need the supporters, and we need everyone around, to help those that are, courageous to start a business and to venture in the entrepreneurship, for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, this is sort of part of why I'm creating this program. I mean, this channel,
Yes.
also creating this program where I've got my masterclass to help you, but then I've got this weekly program that aligns, budding entrepreneurs with experts in different spaces to help coach and train them to have that support and to learn the skills and, give it their go all. And I would, very much in it, let me know your thoughts on this, but I vehemently believe that starting part time, a lot of people can afford financially to leap in both feet, but I feel like the stress of that is a lot. And
Yeah.
being able to do something a bit on the side while you're gaining the skills, if that's really the path you want to go down, of being an entrepreneur is a much, in a way, safer way where it provides
Mhm.
a little bit of that balance.
Yeah, it's kind of getting your feet wet with with the full control that you could have. It's learning the skills, learning the business, getting to know your surroundings, learning how to invest your time, because if you're part-time, then that's where the whole strategy and creativity comes into place, because then you can you can learn to appreciate the value of time. And because if you don't have as much time, then you have to be concise, you have to be intentional, and you have to, and then once you do that for long enough, and you, I mean, your master class, I accepted your invitation for this interview because when you talked to me about this idea and this desire to help others that you have, and really showcase what you have discovered as your talents in communication and training, and really elevating others in their own strengths and in their own power and their own potential, I said yes immediately, because I think that it is very valuable to have a support, a support tool such as a master class, or if you register into, just leaning in the aspects of the business that you want to get better at or learn more about, or whatever it is. I find that what you're offering is very accessible, and the way you teach is exactly how we're conducting this interview today, is in a simple way, but I think that it will help several people along the way, and then people get to decide, if that's what they want to do, how much they want to invest their time, or there's so many ways to work around the entrepreneurship. It really is case by case. Everyone has their own space within the space.
Yeah, I know for sure. And we all do. And I think one of the big things that I learned that I think was also a big differentiation for me in as an employee was just um, constantly growing yourself, uh,
Oh, yeah.
time to listen to training materials, buying courses, buying books, investing that profit in my business back
Mhm.
into myself to go to conferences. And there are so many incredible entrepreneurs and personal development gurus out there. I've spent tons and tons of, dollars and time and effort to go and learn from all those. And I know that's what's helped me. And I know it's helped you. I know you go to a lot of conferences yourself as well, even in your role.
Yeah, absolutely. And now what is amazing is that you have done this for several years, the several years that I've known you and before that, and now you get to give back. It's almost as if this is so priceless to have someone who has gathered all the pieces of information and the nuggets that have made a difference for you, coming from the corporate world into this entrepreneur world. And yeah, I think that it's very valuable to not have to do years and years of this, and then just coming to that one place where you absorb and learn from one that has been, attending all these conferences, but getting to share the it's almost a best of, I feel that it's a best of, and it will be very valuable for
Well,
sure.
thank you so much. Do you have any final comments or thoughts before we close out? I very much appreciate your time.
My God, it's been a pleasure. We could talk for hours, but I will say that if you are listening to this, if you're either hesitating, and getting your feet wet and starting your own business, or you have started your business and you just wanted to elevate the quality of your leadership, elevate the quality of your business, this is the place. This is the place to be, the place to come, and the place to learn. And so, it's a beautiful world when you get to control your world, your time, and everything that you invest in. It's a perfect world. Life is so short. Let's just learn what we can, get better at whatever we want to, and then enjoy freedom like you can, like I can't, but you can. But thank you for the invitation, honestly. And I hope to be back in a different segment. I would love to come back.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to have you back. And again, everybody, thank you so much, Martine. Really appreciate you, your friendship, your leadership, your mentorship, and all that you do for all the budding entrepreneurs around the globe, really, and all the roles that you've played. Thank you, everybody. Please subscribe to this channel. If you like this content, you'll get alerted because we'll be doing a lot more of these. I do have a ton of videos out there already. You're going to be hearing about my masterclass program and my coaching program that's going to be coming out really to help you grow in your business. If you love this, share this. to your contacts and your social media, and we'll see you again really soon. Thanks. Bye.